Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. We're back with more letter. Hello souls, how are you doing? Apparently it's been a day. May I ask what has been happening? Because for me it's just been nightmares. Nightmares. I don't usually get them, and when I do get them they tend to be nice. This was awful. Never want to experience it again. So, while I'm catching up with the chat what's going on, we might as well continue with this game. Last time, Rose died. And now we were playing as not Zack, but the Hannah. And we tried to make Johannes kiss Zack, which unfortunately didn't succeed. Ready for bed. Good timing, good timing. Oof. Got a crack in the bedroom ceiling due to leaking? That's gonna be rough. And I hope that's not gonna cost a lot. $500 in a cat bill. Small stone and platter. My cat actually has the same problem. They get the small stones in a platter, so now for the rest of their life they have to eat a special diet. They can still eat normal food, but they have to eat the special dry food, because they refuse to eat the wet food. Well, good for that. A day off. That's good. Oh, I see. Alright. I'll let your dad handle that then. Wait. What's making the noise? Oh, it's just the swinging? I thought it was hovering over something. So, let's see where we left off. Yeah, our first vet actually didn't tell us about that either. They just told us to give this special food and it'll be fine. However, on our second vet several years later said that they should have stayed on the diet. And to be honest, so it doesn't harm the cat if you give that diet more. It just makes sure that the stones never come back. And it also doesn't harm if you happen to have another cat. It's not dangerous. At least what they told us. Seems to be a common thing knowing that there's a specific food type for it. Here we go. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. I'm sorry? Am I seeing that price correct, souls? Are you saying that it would cost 1.2 million? Or is that... Or is that just... what? 100,000? Besides the case, it sounds extremely expensive, and if that would be the actual price... I see that the exaggerated prices do not apply only to humans, it also applies to animals there apparently. My god. I think... How much was our cat's surgery because she actually had to go a small surgery. It was only like a couple hundred. Plus the food. They gotta stop gouging the prices up there. Because that sounds ridiculous. So, it is dark. For a moment, I thought the electric work is not up to par. But that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. It definitely is a scam. There's no way that anywhere in the world it would cost that much. I'm fairly certain that surgery in a fucking Zimbabwe would be cheaper than in US. And that place is riddled with hyperinflation where a piece of bread is like $1,000,000 Zimbabwe dollars. Anyway, to make the matters worse, darkness grants the room a different atmosphere. Eerie and something I misclicked. Eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle and there is a distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me and only spurs me on my search. And when I do open the lights, there's a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman.
That was loud. Your bed is called the cheapest? Yes. So if you got into the situation where your cat needs surgery, it sounds cheaper to travel into another country. Have the cat have a surgery there and travel back. You would probably need insurance for that. I like how Luke is giving such different opinions of who they look like. You see him as Draco, I see him as a blonde butler, and then one other person who saw him called him an asshole. We all agree. Ah, I see. Anyway, back to Luke being angry. I'm probably drunk. There at the end of the hall is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, Luke, are you drinking absinthe? Seriously, that is not wine. And the only reason why I recognize this is because of Rusty Lake. I remember that same liquid, that same type of spoon with a sugar on top of it. Oh my god. Seriously, Luke?
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe? You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke.
Yep. The color and sugar cube are the clear clues. I can't call any other drink that's drank that way. Also, look, Hannah's pissed. You can see the angry marks.
Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please.
God, he is fucking drunk.
Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me.
Even so, absinthe color that does not look not strong.
Helps with a hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
Wait! You're using that as a hangover drink! My god, Luke! You have a problem. You're going to die, and it's not going to be by ghost, it's going to be by your goddamn alcoholism!
This morning, love, don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much.
Is that why you were shouting?
You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
True, I mean, Hannah did say, hit him with a bloody car if he wants to die.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
So's not if you're being thorough with it.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you.
Oh boy, here we go.
That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done.
Oh?
So, what was it then, What were you doing?
Huh? I was with Zachary.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
I'm fairly certain that the relationship went down. I'm fairly certain, in fact, the other one, the relationship would go down. He's gonna blame that she's having an affair. Sheesh. Twice? What got them that riled up? I have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I'm guilty of anything. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I actually am to blame for something. It's a way of making me laid bare with just a look. Oh, I see. Well, that certainly explains everything. You have a wild family.
That giant Negro?
Luke! You can't say that on a stream! I'm gonna get banned for that! Banned? Just for that? If Foxy would be around, you'd be on fire right now. In fact, perhaps we should get him killed on purpose.
You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
It was a photo shoot.
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup.
He's fine.
He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that. But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
No?
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning.
Exactly! Solus is right. We are not interested in Zach. We want him to be interested in our butler Johannes. Go complain to him having an affair.
He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
Well, perhaps we should have told him about your drinking problem. I'm sure everyone would love to hear about that. His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him. They were like nature. The grass and the trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now as I look at him, they're nothing but the same shade of green as a bloody damn drink in his hand. Oh God, you're right.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hana.
You know what this sounds like? You know what this sounds like? Souls, do you remember an old game called Facade? Where you're a guest to a place with Trip and Grace and you try to make it through without Trip throwing you out and them probably breaking apart their marriage? Okay, give me a second. This seriously sounds like the game. I'm talking about this game. It was known for the fact that you wrote your answers to them and they reacted quote-unquote appropriately depending on what you said. And it was quite hilarious to see people, mess what? Seriously? Big YouTubers played this game a long time ago, like, what, 10 years ago? My chat is uncultured.
No, I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
You know, funny enough, I think... Of course. And here I was watching my, PewDiePies and Markipliers and Jacksepticeye's. I'm fairly certain at least one of them played that. Also, I think the Trip in that game actually had a drinking problem just as Luke does. It matches. Hangover forgotten during a course of this little spat, the man jumps to his feet and seats. Completely understandable, Souls. I was a kid when I watched him, and over the years, his content changed, and I stopped watching. I enjoyed him well around the Amnesia time, and that's about it. But even back then, I could see, when I look back at them, I can see why someone would be annoyed by his reactions and behavior. But honestly, it is thanks to him that the Let's Play genre blew up like it is now. It looks like he's barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want.
Oh, that's what the addicted people say.
And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes.
Thank you, Mega, for updating a bit of the game. I'm fairly certain it pollutes both of them.
Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Right, when the game said that this game contains foul language, now I perfectly understand why. Amber, if you're saying this, it was correct for you to warn me about this.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen.
Because that certainly requires the foul language one.
You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous.
Oh, we're not being friendly enough with you?
Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served, Well, grander than the usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. The platter of native oysters for starters, and tranche of turbot. Sounds French? With purple sprouting broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for meats. Also, just personally, that does not look appetizing for me. At all. Bad sauce. Bad sauce. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. That actually doesn't sound too bad. Why custard, though? Wait, hold up a moment. My brain is lacking. What the heck is custard again? Oh, that's custard. Yeah, that's delicious. I was thinking of something completely new. Souls. I know you're not being direct, but be careful with spoilers. Now I know what you mean. Now I know why he behaved like that. He's projecting, isn't he? But when our appetites were appeased and the plates are all cleared empty, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the dull of night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. That is a good point, Souls. That is an excellent question. It's probably around the time when he started drinking. My guess is, we'll see. There's no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback in and what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. We're having a Tuesday cat stream. Perfect. I can rate her tonight. Everybody prepare. Besides, it looks like someone's having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Yet at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Oh, it is. Hearing it chills down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? During supper, Hannah found Luke sipping absinthe and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of the wife's activities, having not seen her whole afternoon despite finishing Luxury Living's interview early. Then there was this crying woman. Curiosity sinks in as I follow the murmurs sorrowful sounds into the kitchen and into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I am curious and concerned, but there's no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I cannot bring myself to go bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. Thank you, Hannah. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I'm not in high spirits right now. So I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will call them out. I know it's a trap. I knocked 3 times. Waited for any sort of reply, yields me no results. And as I've already touched the floor hatch too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better in kindness as threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still
You
nothing.
can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
Oh, Hannah is so goddamn English. So here's the thing that I learned. Cuppa means a cup of tea. Well, if they ask for a cup of tea, it means, I think it was supper? They don't call things how they're supposed to. In some areas, maybe, but that's what I heard. Kappa. Pub means a cup of tea. In England, at least. If I'm incorrect, then I apologize for the wrong source. With how long I am standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I had, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me. And I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, I ought to...
I freeze as my hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I... kneel unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone as quickly as it had seized me. It is only your hands I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I was... I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I?
Yep, Soth. The Braits are being weird with their tea, once again.
But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
What crying woman? He grows silent for a moment and then just looks concerned. At least, I'd like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern, as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. We did a good choice not opening it. When I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatches for a good measure to prove his words to be true, too. The thing won't budge unless I had the key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
That is very casual thing to describe the situation. Oh, if in the morning you still see weird things, just come talk to me. There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense. Who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? Of course it is. I'm just tired. That's it. A long day of moving, the interview dealing with Luke, and that has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
That means good night in German.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself. Although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house or there is something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. Hooray! You do it as well. We are not hopeless. It's Friday. Wait, what day was yesterday? 26, it was Wednesday. We jumped a day. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit unsettling because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now. Absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house after all, a grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright Mansion. Every person of importance from Luxburn is invited, and there will be few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Alright, so have a nice lurk.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to be acquisitive. Never seen that word before. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. Even bought this wonderful wooden crib from Antique Store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have a little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit at one of the hotels instead. Always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up for the task.
Oh no. We proceed with that room as planned.
Not that bedroom.
I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
Indeed. No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among the high society. To do so will make you ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures. A lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Is that projecting? Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with a plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she's interested or not. Although, that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Be honest with me.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
There we go.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though. I love to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Damn it, she's too sharp. It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We put up an act of a perfect couple for years. Although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than an average person, of course. It is necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle.
God damn it.
But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone.
Fair enough.
That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She rails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There's a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to saying that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Otters have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their coral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. Hannah? Our lives are short. I'm just saying, doesn't matter. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been entirely made of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. Well, I can't blame seeing how Luke behaves. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment where our blissful union turned sour. We can get through this, right? I know I still do love him, and I feel that there's a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely he will see some sense. There's a cough before Marianne clears her throat. It must have been quiet. I must have been quiet for so long, and I moved to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffles occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly.
If Oi?
You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Journal updated. Hannah and Marianne were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. On a whim, Hannah asked Marianne's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about after the latter excused herself to attending a party. You're spying on us. The scene outside the parlor is great. Organized mess. Aside from the household help, the hired services of the temp agency, which provides the staff for Right Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake this party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and serveware good for several dozen people and then some. Chef and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little chicken as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. The pair use the stocks to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Snell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet readies up for the play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floor decors worth thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in a carefully by a pair. It's followed by a simple cake. There's a 5-tier white chiffon, one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible goat leaf. Ooh. But despite the fact I told Marianne how I will attain to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering, with only select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how I'm used to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke right. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, her own decisions. Sure, I was already a social butterfly that I still am today, but wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me, just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom, so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budget, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison, and the public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker, who even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to the others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took the genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything, from big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast, or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who'll always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. False. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, to take care of them in his absence. The word absence sounds so bad in this situation. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. If I can fall further in the introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my
The
attention.
guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Surprise, surprise.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tours, supercars, even a odd high-end muscle car or two. Convertibles, van saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen, parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive by, possibly those who thought it's too troublesome to paint their own cars. There's at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here what might be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxborn. So far, who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays.
Welcome everyone.
If you survived that far,
Please, make yourselves at home.
some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange sunshine we're experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. We greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bond these individuals from whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society, such as a young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from the women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure why she's here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. This will cause a problem. Luke will lose his mind. He talks a few other media crew with an air of
I was
familiarity.
just here a few days ago, yeah. Yeah, and the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I had invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request, aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. And then there are people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. The people who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
Lee, you are an absolute...
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies.
Oh no!
No offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Indeed.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
This is a thing. It's an important dimension. You do not need to wait for 24 hours to file a missing reports case. If you think a person is missing, you should do it as soon as possible. Not after 24 hours. Because every hour wasted is a less chance to find them.
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body.
Oh, I wish.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches.
That's cute. He'll be around because Zach is here.
Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out.
I wonder why.
Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby?
Luke's still being a bitch about it.
I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Excuse me? Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? The word that I said before, I'd stand by it. At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Meetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversation or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure that your guests are well fed and have good company and have generally enjoyed themselves. But when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off. She wants nothing more but to make music. One of the hotel managers worry about stolen belongings of one of his patrons. A failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. RIP. And then there's that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her, with her distinctive locks. Wait, that said locks, right? Not looks. Yeah, locks. So the locks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and her air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a
You
drink.
would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder if he doesn't hear what I say.
Rush?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
I can see the blush. In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. Also, look at them buffing their chests. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
Liar.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
Maybe both.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property.
Indeed.
I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Hello? My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see the woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her, and her mouth breaks into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hands shake and I nearly drop my drink. And then in a blink, she's gone, and the boss of the party
I'll
returns.
keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is a familiar, like a fond memory. Need an old friend at a housewarming party. Wait, what? I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stowies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Ash,
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
the more you list off names, the more red and more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I've triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when I visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash!
There you go.
That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
I'm a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
Unless you die.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best.
I wish that was the case.
If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it.
You heard her. We have to fight for it. Get your sword and shield, lads.
But what do I know?
There's a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall
I'm
correctly.
sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
Dear God, that's a long time.
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Nope,
Well, that won't do.
not at all.
What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway.
True.
There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her the yellow summer dress? Or the pink blouse and the petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later. Talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls. as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough of her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter at the moment as I mull over what she's just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There's no time to ponder over that, however, as the hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer open. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago. But with anyone as this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. There's only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in a spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out with every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. I'll never put it against him. When he smiles like that, he did so quite brilliantly under scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he's not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make myself to Luke's.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right and shake Luke's hand and greet him personally. Praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she's dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she's already spitting venom. Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. How much has she embedded in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
Hello, Ikara. Welcome with the chicken. The Right Mansion officially opened its door with a grand housewarming feast. Zachary Steele, Ashton Frey, and Rebecca Gales were seen attending. However, it was supposed to be a day of merriment turned sour when Rochelle Lee, the chief inspector wife, accused Luke Wright of fathering her unborn baby. Explain.
You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she frowns on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break amongst the quest, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol in her breath, I'm not ticked off by the little display of hers, at least not yet, but I'm absolutely pissed by the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There's considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue. You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask the same
I
thing.
don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens.
Excuse me.
Huh?
What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Oh no. So not only is Luke cheating on us, projecting and blaming that we have something with Zack, he made Rochelle pregnant, who is our best friend, and he's fucking his best friend's wife. Oh my god! The drama!
God damn it, Luke! I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me!
You know, a while back I called him and I did not exaggerate it. I am absolutely correct. If I'm being heated here, there's one thing that I cannot stand people doing is cheating. And I mean cheating on their partner. People like that deserve the lowest pits of hell. What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me! I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
But she does.
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
Yes. Now that Johans returns with security, along with the concerned looking of Officer Lee, they surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behaviour. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is.
I don't believe so.
You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's nowhere what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up, then just wait until she sobers up and then ask. I know, Luke. If such scandalous meetings are to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. He definitely won't promise responsibility over a child until it can be helped. Maybe that's why he never wanted a baby, because he was already having one. Besides, Luke will never go as far as sleep with another woman, right? False. Okay, fine, who am I kidding? If I'm to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation, a bit of alcohol, he just might. Doesn't that just make my blood boil? Do you even think that the slightest possibility of infidelity? He isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. Makes me think. Might be false accusations. It might be false accusations. But between these two choices, perhaps a break is needed. Luke's relationship went way down. No, of all the characters, I don't feel bad if Luke dies now. If the facts are true. If I am frustrated, if I am unhappy, maybe a break is needed. Some time apart might be just what Doctor ordered. Time to apart to clear our heads and think for ourselves. Or for myself to be exact. Because looking at this mess before me just brings me nothing but distress. I feel a bit nauseous actually, now that I think about it. Luke's too busy making a scene, and I'm concerned Becky pulls me to the side. She looks disturbed, as I am, by this sudden turns of events. Probably not a big fan of drama. Definitely not used to it at any rate. Not surprising, as her parents were lovely yet simple people.
Hey, I figured you could use the save. You looked like you weren't doing too hot back there. Do we need to call a doctor or something?
Oh no, I'll just be needing some fresh air, that's all. Some help getting out of here would be much appreciated.
Sure, that won't be a problem. I wanted to get away from this drama too anyway. Just... Hey, Zachary! Hey, Zach!
As the mention of his name, I can't help but seek out the crowd when he makes his way over. They know each other?
This is a real oh, hey, Miss Wright.
If I were to assign a random number to dictate the odds of finding two of my acquaintances who know each other, I'd say the odds are 1 of 1,000. And if this is any other situation, I would have been suspicious. It isn't completely impossible to have two random strangers who have met on a separate occasion to know each other, in what will be a completely random happenstance. Oh, you don't know that bit of it yet. It's just that it's been faked before to try and dupe me because of who I am and who I am married to. Right now, coincidence or not, I'm just grateful for the help. As long as it doesn't turn out into a kidnapping anyway.
Hello, Zachary. I told you to call me Hannah. Did I not?
Yeah, you did. So this is what you called me for. We gonna get Hannah out of here?
I can see that you're friends. Not terribly close ones, but friends nonetheless.
That'd be great.
They make a quick work of getting us through the crowd. The people parting of Zachary's broad build, even if they wanted to approach me. If that isn't enough, Becky's pointed glares keep them at bay. We even make it out to the ballroom without any untoward incident. Though, judging by the commotion in the outer room, the same cannot be said about the unexpected eviction. I really do need the fresh air. I need to be away from those nosy Parkers. I need to be away from Luke. It's a good start as any.
Hey, I gotta go back in there. Completely forgot my bag like an airhead, and I'll see if I can tag Ash on the way out. You'll be fine here, right, Hannah?
Not to worry, dearie. I'll just be right here.
Zach will be with you if you need anything.
Becky pokes the idea of going back into the ballroom. Anyone who hasn't yet would have realized I'm gone by now. Those busybodies will be constantly how I left the building with two unknowns. Oops, double click. No, it's fine. Along with what just transpired, stories with both inaccurate and made up will spread by the night's end. It all matters very little with the grand scheme of things, of course. I wouldn't bother trying to quell them by returning to the fray. That leaves me with...
Zachary,
Yeah, you need something?
I was only going to say how nice it is to see you again.
Oh, okay.
I can see this tension is in the line of his shoulders. Odd how awkward he is when this is in our first meeting. We had met on professional terms, certainly, but I'd like to think I was friendly. Nonetheless, I do not push the issue about the apparent discomfort when we were left alone. Not right away, at any rate. I know my curiosity will get the better of me soon. Before I can say anything, however, he speaks up.
Okay there, Hannah? I mean, of course you're not okay after what happened in there. I mean, that was terrible, but you're not gonna just fall down and faint or anything, right?
I'm fine. Thank you for your concern.
A beat.
I should be asking you the same thing. I remember you being a lot more eloquent.
Oh yeah, I'm just not too good with staying too long in a crowded room.
Ah, I know that feeling far too well, Zachary.
Or handling intense drama, you know. Sorry about my clothes. Didn't think there'd be a dress code. Not that I have anything that nice to wear to a shindig like this. I dig nice, small, simple parties, so this is a real doozy for me.
And do you host your own nice, small, and simple parties often?
Only when there's occasion, birthdays and stuff. Those are a lot more fun for me, and I can be a lot more selective about letting only the people I'm cool with attend, right?
Makes sense.
I get to pick the food too. Of course, I make most of them myself. There's usually a dozen people or less, and all we really do is just hang out. Maybe do some grilling, karaoke, dancing, the usual.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. You sure you're alright? You aren't exactly being eloquent yourself, as you put it. You must have something you want to get off your chest.
I don't know, Zachary. What am I supposed to say?
You can scream merde if you want. I won't snitch.
I think that means shit in French.
You want to know what I think? How I feel? I think my friend may have slept with my husband. At least, I'm pretty sure she isn't pregnant with his baby, which isn't much now, is it?
This will ruin every four-way relationship that there is.
My husband is a selfish, pretentious, bloody sack of shite, and you know what? I don't give a flying fuck anymore! My God!
Here we go.
Well, that ain't good. Not giving a crap won't make the problem go away.
I'm going to ask him for a break, Zachary. I'm not going to pretend that there isn't a problem, but I just need to step back.
Fair enough. As long as you don't just up and disappear on him, I suppose.
As long as I don't die.
Yes. Now can we please stop talking about him? Tell me more about your small, simple parties. Karaoke and dancing. How does that even go together?
Simple, really. We hope Ash doesn't take the mic, put on a bit of fun music, and just dance. Not that I can, but there ain't nothing complex about it.
You can't be that bad.
I'm pretty good with the twist. Or that's what they tell me, at least. I think they're just being nice. I'm sure it just looks awkward.
At least you can cook.
At least you can cook. Allegedly.
I'm not taking the risk because if he starts dancing and Luke comes from the one room, we're fucked.
You still bring no proof.
This party ain't exactly a potluck, is it?
True, true. Perhaps you can invite me to one of your simple parties. I will bring the cake.
Yeah, why not? But with a cake that big like at your housewarming party, we'll be eating frosting for weeks. Maybe make it a little simpler and it's a deal.
Simple would be nice.
She does like simpler parties. Nothing came of that. I wish the same can be said what I'm about to do. In the aftermath of Russell accusations, a devastated Hannah was seen exiting the ballroom with Rebecca Gales and Zachary Steele. Hannah was left to take care of the man. Rebecca had to go back to the party in search of Ashton. Now alone, the two had a talk, and both were smiling by the end of it. Getting there. Simple is an adjective I will use to describe the task at hand. Because really, how does one tell their husband that they want to separate and say that no, this is not a divorce? Not yet at least. The possibility is there. But still, how am I supposed to explain that to Luke without him throwing a fit? Cutting too deeply into my sausages, I opened my mouth to excuse myself. That is, then despite Luke smashing and stirring his poached eggs with a fork like a petulant child, he's been silent all the while, chinning his head and elbow resting on the table. I'm worried that my absence after the debacle may have caused more harm than good. It's not you. Okay, it's you.
I think we need a bit of a break. You know, some time apart.
At my words, he grows still and silent. I'm not quite sure whether I should be worried or not. I think it's my cue to keep talking.
It's not permanent or anything like that. Just for a while. In a few days, perhaps. I was thinking I can move back into our penthouse in the meantime, but I won't be moving out right away, so that I can help settle everything here. And I haven't even thought of packing yet. And I'll want to ask Johans to assign some of our staff. Unless you want the penthouse anyway. Then I'll stay here instead.
No, you take the penthouse. It'll be easier for you.
It isn't supposed to be this easy, is it? Can he really react so aloof to it?
Isn't this to your liking? I imagine that you'd like the space and independence. You'll have the bed and covers to yourself, and you can have whatever you want prepared for meals. You can even have all the wine you want, though I'd rather that you don't.
This isn't about that, Hana. Well, it's partly that, but...
The man stops playing with his food, choosing instead to push the plate aside.
Come on, Luke.
He slams back to his chairs and just short of putting his feet up on the table. I suspect he's wanting some wine or absinthe by now, but any sort of alcohol is suspiciously absent in his hands.
Aside from that disaster yesterday and you telling me you want a divorce, everything is peachy keen.
Not a
You
divorce.
want me to start on the letters then? To start the divorce settlements and whatnot? Will you be seeking ways to throw me out onto the street without a penny to my name?
No.
No, Luke, this isn't a divorce. I just told you this is only temporary. Are you really having a sulk because of what she said yesterday?
I am having a sulk because you believe her.
This isn't about her. This isn't about that. This is about something else.
You stormed out and now you're asking for us to split up? Soon enough, you'll want to throw me out like I'm a piece of trash.
Luke, you are a piece of trash, but that's beside the point.
Do you think I would be this calm if I believed her, Lucille Mitchell Wright?
Oh, that's his real name.
Because believe me, if I did, well, it wouldn't be pretty.
True. Absolutely true.
Besides, I know how you feel about children. It makes her whole statement laughable.
I'm fairly certain it was an accident.
Sure, whatever you say.
His mouth draws into a thin line, and I can't bring myself to comment on his half-hearted reply. To me, the silence that follows feels oppressive. It only emphasizes the wall that's been built up my obeisance and his hubris. And it looms between us, keeping us apart.
When are you leaving? In a week?
It won't take that long to pack. After All Saints, perhaps?
Of course. So that means in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 5 or 6 days, give or take.
I'll go and inform the staff of this.
He only nods. And I'll be lying if I said that didn't disappoint me. Sorry. We're on 29th right now, so 4 or 5 days. During breakfast, Hana asked Luke for a break. She'd be moving back to the penthouse for a couple of days. Despite trying to remain aloof, her husband accused her of wanting a divorce, and insists that she simply needed a break from him. Perhaps I can leave now just to spite him, but that isn't like me. Even if this does end in a divorce, the thing we both surely wish to avoid, and still leave on amicable terms. There's no point in making a mountain out of a molehill.
What are you still doing here? Just leave. You still have some packing to do, don't you? Go
Rude.
ahead. I won't stop you.
Go ahead and do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems, but I've stepped up to the plate and tried to take the responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for that job? And with Johannes overseeing the staff and Luke handling everything else as a home, that doesn't leave much for me. I can't even take the job of delegation because all it takes is a word from one of the senior staff and everything will be taken care of me. Moving in here a few days ago may have very well been a chore that took the most effort from me, and that didn't take any real effort at all.
Yes, Hana, go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
There are no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind is now nearly non-existent. To sit on a counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off. And I really don't know what brought me to the kitchens in the first place. It's not like I'm craving for anything else, nor do I have any unfinished business left here. But there's a calling to this room. Speaking of calling, why not do just that? Might as well, since I have nothing else to do. At least that will require some effort on my part. With how cut off from the rest the Luxborn dimension is, and with how long it was abandoned before we moved in, having a landline is out of the question. This Luton is supposed to be our mobile, though it isn't much considering how spotty the signal in the area is. It'll take a bit of maneuvering to get even a single bar as it is. Takes a bit, as I said it would. I have to park my rear in one of the cold drawers, and that suits me just fine. Another matter is my effort is who to call. She who must not be named is certainly off the list. You should have asked, though. You should have asked. There doesn't leave much of a category of close friends who attended the party, along with the category who else is awake at this early hour. But soon enough, I manage and the call goes through.
Hello, Rebecca Gales here. Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear.
It sounds desperate.
Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Don't know about that.
Mathematics?
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened.
True.
But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving?
Oh, of course, of course. I shouldn't keep you. But I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
I was hoping you could thank Zachary on my behalf as well. He was really kind and wonderful.
Well, you can tell him that yourself if you want. I can give you his number.
Oh, no, I don't want to be a bother. Intruding on his privacy.
Pretty sure he'd be fine with it. If you two are on a first-name basis and all. So, his number, right, it's...
The call starts to go static, much to my frustration. A strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words too. I can barely understand what she's saying. And the line completely dies. I can feel a headache coming from along. It's just building up. Starting from the light dropping from one side of my head. The static is gone, and that helps a lot. But there's that still incessant, horrible clicking. Again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? And if it is coming from my phone, then where? Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes to be drawn to the hatch leading to the wine cellar once more. That's when the clicking stops. I can hear that crying. That familiar crying from before. Hannah called Rebecca Gales, hoping to catch up with her old friends. The talk got interrupted by a horrible clicking and the cry of a woman from a wine cellar. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because how it unsettled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at very thing I'm trying to forget. Someone is crying down there again. But if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. I might have forgotten to lock it. With the party going on.
Again? If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
True enough, one takes a bit of a pull to open the hatch. As I look down the cellar, I sense the uneasiness wash over me. It isn't just a sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also darkness. It's suffocating. As I look down, it feels as if I'm looking back at me, or that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. Cries drown beneath the shrieks that start echoing my head, high and shrill, like nails being dragged across the chalkboard. They're all screaming, shouting at me. I can just feel her rage. Help me. She wants to drown me, track me down, and crush me into the very depths of darkness until there's nothing left of me. The deep abyss waits for me. For my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. There's a rope around my neck, and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. And they're still screaming. I'm screaming. It's not my voice that escapes my lips. With claws through, climbing up and forcing its way to my throat like a putrid pile. I choke and gag. Yet I scream and shriek all the same. And I'm me, but not me. Possession. I missed one. Is it good enough? It pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone and vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me stumble and I can feel my whole body seizing, fighting on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death. If I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
What is going on in there? Why are you?
Prince.
Seeing Luke, something snaps back, and I'm able to take a gasp of air on my own volition for the first time it felt like centuries. I would have rejoiced and cried for his name. The pain did not rack my body. In the safe hand, resist the manager's influence. Instead, all I can do is stare listlessly as he comes to my side and lifts me up, cradling me in his arms. Tries to get me on my feet, tries to take me out of here. But all he's able to do is get me to sit, make sure I'm not trashing on the floor. I can feel my muscles spasm, limbs jerking like a puppet on a string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still, so that I do not hurt myself anymore. Whatever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and battered. Eventually the pain dies down into a dull ache, and my own tongue stuffs me like a cotton. It's only now that I can feel the wetness on my cheek, tears streaking down my face. A coughing racks my body, now that I don't feel like choking. It all feels so horrible, but I don't care. I don't care.
Please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hana. You're safe now.
I'm surprised he cares. Switching to Zachary. Now we learn about him. March 20th, Pisces 31 years old. Height 6 foot or 183 centimeters. Occupation freelance photographer. Nationality American. Religion agnostic. Education diploma in digital film. Likes pie, photography and filmography. Documentaries, cooking, acoustic guitar, video games. Before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey, where his family owned a diner and a bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to the hate crime, and they were forced to move to England where their grandparents lived. He had loved cooking and helping out the old diner, but grew lazy and disinterested after the incident. Not help that he was one of the few blacks in the predominantly white community at the time. His passion for visual arts sparked when he found old Polaroids and home movies for his parents. Freelancing helped pay his rent, but the man had long set his sights on the indie film scene. It was during the creation of his first documentary that a robbery occurred, and Ashton was there to investigate. Being at the wrong place at the wrong time led Zachary being placed as a suspect, but the rookie detective helped him to clear his name. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint, but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Past stern but commending gaze, Ma's tender smiles, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning, and the distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room, on past Brian and Joy. My sister and I too eventually. We ain't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves, not to burn our hands or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted.
Well, a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet as they usually is. The walls more foreboding than I'm used to. Farther and farther till the room goes. Last thing he sees is and Pa.
Please wait. I'll be good. I'll sleep on time. Don't go.
I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replace the comforting soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, this red sea that catches me is bitter and frigid. The blood that drips in my head is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls stumble and everything goes quiet. That's dramatic. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. That is a nice room, I must say. Despite the pleasant chill that the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me and my blanket get a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived and yet...
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long since the last I've spoken up drenched in my own sweat. Head littered with the thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes are open. All too often, only prints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day. Or until my mind forgets about it. Egad, whichever comes first. Yet, vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing and urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and... There's a twinkle in Ma's eyes when she looks up from her work, flour dust in her nose and cheeks. There's a scent of freshly baked bread wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer the moment he spots me on my little hiding space behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but his pat on my back when I come within his arm reach is encouraging enough. We'll have a taste of this first before we put it on the sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me out of the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it. But I know what it's outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The walls still need a deep paint job. The wall clock ticking opposite my bed is unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already placed that when I had the chance.
No longer there, Zachary. Here and there, miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
The pressure of my own fingers against my temple is a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. It never really did anything to stave off the headache should follow after this, but it rounds me. A little reminder that I'm safe, away from the place I am once called home, from Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap that falls finally chases away the girls threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock at someone's door this late confuses me. Not I would chase them all away with broom if she was here. No matter. It's a welcome break from the thoughts that it's about to take a morbid turn if I left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to reload. Crash? Looking for a place to crash. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering with his courtesy when he never did so before. Even with the hunch, though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and he started wearing a ponytail. Of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon. No matter how funny that looks in my head. I waste no time opening the latches.
Bella, it's late.
Let a friend stay over the night. Wait. Hold up. Can I see the current date? Are we on the date when she had the incident? 24th? I can't see it. There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and a gun trouble is shaking in her hands when she's trying to hold back. Height? If I didn't know any better.
Zach, sorry. I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you were the closest to my office, and...
No. It's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry, I just thought... I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
She drills up, her voice lost in a buggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead her only response is a downward shift of her gaze, back to her still trembling hands as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture. Easy to miss if one's not paying attention. For someone who has seen the same expression on the mirror, done the same thing too many times when the night terrors are inevitable, it is not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you not. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it.
You call that a couch?
I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over the kitchenette. Oh, that's called a kitchenette? Interesting. For a few good seconds, only the clinking of the plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, a familiar emotions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. Isabel's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reasons for showing up here at such hour doesn't matter. Curiously, if we got Isabel killed at that point, would this event not happen? I'll be damned if I turned her away. Frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet in this particular moment, she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself. It's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
You wanna drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. And feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and the silence stretches out until what we left hanging feels disconcerting. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How is one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my schedule shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you, huh?
She's curled up on one side of the couch, hugging her knees close when I bring the tray of carrying the sandwiches and water she requested. She starts straighting up as I unload the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold my arm in a halting gesture.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
The trimmer in her hand, though lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she's quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by the small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions. Worrying This sudden loss of words, this bout of quiet is normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of old cheer when I casually take the seat is a welcome break. Although the company's familiar, this has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp of her glass of its remaining contents. One would think it would be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it up on her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened to Rose.
Rose? Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory from night before. A bright red light from the dark room, a strong odor of a stop bath, the television barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effect will strike someone this close to me.
Oh, damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hard-working people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night.
Fair?
Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
The vehement tension in her voice makes me pause, and it's this instant the mask she's been keeping up falls apart. If only for a short while. Right there and then, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unalterated fear. It's disturbing to see such marrying her unusual upbeat countenance. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling enough.
This ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
The sound of glass shatter rings through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In a span of few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know anymore.
She claps her hand over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her heart. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
Alright, Isabella. Look at me.
My hands are firm on her shoulder when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close, too similar.
Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force with which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic altogether.
No more. Please, no more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Kate, no more talking. I won't ask anymore. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much. We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods slightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that. I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us is gonna get hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than her rank draws of breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two, but the latter does the trick. And soon enough, she has already drifted off by the time I return to the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to her empty bed and hugs herself tighter against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it would stay long with her. There's still questions left to be answered. But the late hour coupled with the sudden exhaustion made my old couch more comfortable bed than it typically is. The frightened Isabella Santa knocked at Zachary Steele's apartment middle of the night. Shaking, she refused to say what happened. Zachary let her stay regardless. I can only wish the dreams will keep at a distance for now, for both of us. It's Tuesday. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights when the sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I wish to hand her up my drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun has yet to peek over the horizon, but the night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing over everything in subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up from my own alarm means abusing the snooze button, twice or thrice, just to catch those precious few extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scramble to the bag sitting on the foot of my bed. Still, the ringing still hasn't stopped even as I fish the phone out. The Ashton name flashes right on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. The sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet.
Ash? You're not a morning person. What's going on?
Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
You want to talk? Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
This sounds serious. Ash is never awake this early.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour.
You're not usually awake at this hour.
Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper woman from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure how to go about the recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transfer her the night before. Sometimes during her sleep, she pulls a blanket over herself and tucks into comfort play. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save for the firm glass grip on the edge of the covers, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something devoid of concern must have surfaced in my tone, because his own shifts then, carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think, okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that.
The cats are fine.
I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered him. The way he falls silent after his telling, whatever his opinion is, stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good at that, hiding what he
Did
thinks.
she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine.
Indeed.
I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and after several minutes, I find myself simply listening the rest of the Luxburn Roses. Come morning, Zachary receives a phone call from Ashton, who is looking for Isabella. Zachary informed him that he stayed over and of the circumstances. Before ending the call, Ashton offered to pick her up. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following the troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts, but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Is her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like these, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair. To say in such light of the last night, if only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me as I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the sound conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have the day to get through despite the proverbial ghost hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of the table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsules equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I spent minutes, even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Oh, I know how that feels. Now it's just a routine, a way to stay off the unwanted nightly visits. Although, I don't think Dr. Navarro would be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointment on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out. Tired and weary. And then I pop a tablet into my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
The bottom of my hand hits the table, the more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there's some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answers the question with a long drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this matter, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities. Inexperienced and immature, even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford, to overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level as Ash exercises for its investigations or Rebecca needs for her own work, but it's certainly enough to definitely put what she sees around her canvas. And if on the way her eyes flickers on to the table and my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
Ma doing? You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana would give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime, although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot. I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back to the bottle holding every small piece that keeps the bad memories at bay. Blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as he watches him fall lifeless on the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. It never stops, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Sully has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at the loss for words. At that, she's left it up to me whether I'll give her the response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her if anyone asks her. I've been on a very truthful line. Constantly going, not lying, always telling the truth. But it doesn't concern her. Play it off.
Oh. What, this?
This relationship down, of course. Because I wasn't being honest, but I'm fine with this. The pill's rattle against a container when I shake it casually in front of her.
They're nothing to worry about. They're just vitamins. Vitamins, Bella. You know, the usual maintenance stuff. Can't be too careful these days, especially with how erratic the weather has been lately. Actually, I did come down with something last week. Forgot to tell you guys about it. Got me a little worried I wouldn't be able to make it on my own movie premiere. Good thing the virus or whatever it is left days before we're supposed to meet, huh? Although I think it's decided to come back for another round.
Zach, you aren't really sick, are you?
Well, there goes that
You're
excuse.
the nicest guy I know around, but you're an even worse liar than I am. I understand it's not a habit, but even I can tell when something's bothering you.
You have no idea how many times I've been told that.
She shifts her attention to her hand, the fingers clasped firmly together at the hem of her shirt. Instead of the usual grin I'm expecting from her, she draws a frown, her lips pressing tightly together in a slight grimace. Seems she wants to ask more beyond what I'm willing to tell, but simply can't face it. I can't tell if this sudden inquisitive, curious nature has been part of her at the start, or she's been barely spent too much time around Rebecca and Ash. When she looks up, however, the question doesn't come. There's only a smile too reassuring to be chewing on her face.
Can you tell me one thing at least? About this, and that thing when we ate lunch the other day? It isn't just about what happened to your movie now anymore, is it?
No. No, it ain't.
Of course not.
That was never it in the first place.
Just a simple statement of the fact. This much I can answer with all honesty. She nods, with her conflicted expression melting into something more pensive. This is her concession.
I understand. I'm sorry if that came off a bit pushy.
I appreciate it. I really do, Bella. There's some things that are harder to talk about. Even with longtime friends.
I get you, or at least I think I do. I'm not going to pretend I could help and tell you it's gonna be okay. I know it's never that easy. But I'm here for you if you need someone to listen, Zach. You know that, right?
I could say the same thing about you. I'm here for you if you want to tell me about what happened yesterday. You were pretty shaken.
A laughter almost bitter and likely a little sharp slips out of me. Completely intentional on my part. Perhaps even the medication talking, but the words have already been said. The damage done, leaving only enough room for regret. Still, she doesn't flinch. Only looks a bit torn, with her mouth opening and closing in solid indecision. In the end, she settles for a deep breath, the release slow and steady as if letting out the heaviness weighing on her. When she looks up at me, something, a small, unfamiliar, barely noticeable thing slips by. As for what, it's impossible for me to tell.
I'll tell you. I promise I'll tell you. But not right now. Not when I need to make sure of something first. Please understand.
Fair enough.
Ever since I came here, other people, you guys, have always been helping me. You, Ash, Becca, even the job I have. I only got it because my aunt helped. I don't want to repay any of that kindness by dragging other people into more trouble than necessary.
Hikaru, are you still on the chat?
I just want to try and fix this myself.
I should be happy. There should be pride in despite the problems, she has found herself in a stable ground to stand on. But somehow, this time I must find myself worrying instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until the week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed. Maybe enough directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say about the happiest people when angered? Besides, it'll be unfair to her after our little chat.
Food then?
She is relieved at the bright change of subject, and as if it has been simply waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry.
And the stomach goes...
Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about? I'll have you know I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being mostly quiet affair. Isabella saw Zachary take an unknown medicine and concerned asked what is it for. Not ready to reveal his painful past, Zachary played it off, saying they're vitamins. He said they would believe him, but didn't push the matter further. The lighted mood, the two decided to cook breakfast afterwards. So give me a second. There we go. Between us, the consistent clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual. We've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving. With how things are now, I really wish someone else will come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping the conversation has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him border on awkward or embarrassing. Speak of the God, he never did call back, and I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back asleep after the call.
Sorry, Bella, could you...
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there. Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
She knew. Ash already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never been really keen on the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you, this guy. All dirtying up my locks he broke can attest to that. He's a good fellow, though. Maybe a bad-date standoff is at first class, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Z-Man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
Ah, my bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing the usual casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't seem too fond of the idea. And sure enough, before they even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down, the force alone enough to halt both and catch the taller man off guard. It will made a funny picture. The way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Pout. Surprise and confusion are in his face all at once. Two things that barely ever grace with us if I can help it. If he can help it. A rare moment even for our small group. If only I had my camera with me. Dang.
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking. real delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here.
These two, whenever they're in the same room, sometimes feel like herding a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment they're engaged in a pleasant chit-chat, the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know better, and I had overactive imagination, I'd say there's something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Or it might just be me reading too much into things like that. I can overhear Ash's laughter if I as so much as suggest such. This, however, I cooked up a feast.
I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste.
Isabella down, up, and Ashton up. Good.
Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it, too.
The oven timer dings. As I've heard of that thing. That's a stock thing. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of glaze and salty tang of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the true inside. Please show me the food. The scent immediately fills the room, and even the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes down the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, following a burst of laughter. My head snaps at the two of them, and I can't keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the floor frame for support, doubling over with breathless laughter. Ash is more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything. Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Hi, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up.
Please show me the food.
Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
Drop the onion, but other than that, that looks delicious. Now I'm hungry. Now I need food. You know, after I'm done with this stream, I am going to go eat. In fact, I just noticed that cat's online, so I'll save here and leave you with this wonderful image. So, give me a moment. Go. Time to refresh the thingy because it doesn't show cat for some reason. It's being lazy. There we go. So, thank you for watching. We went quite the roller coaster today. And I can't wait. I really need to know the answer. Did Luke cheat or not? Because depending on the answer, was it yes or no, there's going to be bodies. I will kill him if the accusations are true. And I feel like Rochelle is the type of person who wouldn't do that would not do such a huge thing. At least from what I've heard from Hannah. still. I'll see you all next time. Bye now.